Estamos hablando en este caso del sector de la salud. Para ello tenemos con nosotros a Robert Milano, Senior Investment Strategist and Head of EMEA Equity Business Development at Alliance Bernstein. Robert, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining Negocios Televisión. Robert, the healthcare sector has lagged the broader market this year, given investors' continued focus on technology stocks. Why do you continue to believe that healthcare offers an attractive long-term investment opportunity for investors?
Yeah, I think two of the factors that are really interesting about healthcare is that the demand for healthcare products and services is inelastic. Right, we have to access the healthcare system on a continuous basis to keep us all healthy. And the other thing is longer-term demographic change. So people who are over the age of 65, the population of those people is going to double by the time we hit 2050, excuse me. So that's going to go from about 800 million people globally to about 1.6 billion people. So it's a very big number, and as we all know, as we get older, we have to take more medications, we have to go to the doctor more regularly, the cost of care goes up. Beyond that population, though, there is also a pretty significant number of surgical procedures that we unfortunately all will, on average, have to go through in our lifetime. So when we think about the number of surgical procedures your person will go through, it's about 7 on average. So it's quite a significant amount of exposure to the healthcare system. And then we go beyond that, these increased surgical procedures, aging demographics, the need for new and innovative ways to access the system, new drug development, for instance. This is all generally going to drive cost up for the system. So the estimate is that by the time we hit 2040, the cost for the global healthcare spend is going to be about $24 trillion. Up from about $9 trillion, call it 10 years ago. So there is quite a lot of growth in the overall spend as global markets develop, as we all get older. So there's quite a lot in the way of opportunity to make the system more efficient and to help try and amplify growth. And that's things like robotics and AI, it's diagnostics and telehealth. There are pretty significant advancements in things like personalized healthcare. So this creates a really interesting longer-term opportunity for investors.
Mm-hmm. What types of performance patterns or characteristics should investors expect when considering a healthcare allocation?
Yeah, and we look through the last, call it 10 years or so, 10 and 15 years for the healthcare sector, it's actually been the 3rd best performing sector in the MSCI World benchmark, and that's after technology and consumer discretionary. So it's outperformed the MSCI World by about 40 basis points annualized over 10 years, and by about 70 basis points annualized over 15 years. So there is quite a lot in the way of performance potential within the healthcare space, but importantly, I think a lot of people tend to think about healthcare as being a more defensive part of the market. And that's true because of the inelasticity of demand for the products and services that we just talked about. You have to access the system, so regardless of whether GDP growth is up or down, or inflation is up or down, right, there should be a more consistent demand driver for many parts of healthcare, because you don't care if GDP is up. If you have to get a heart valve replacement, you need to do that to preserve your health. So there's quite a lot there that can help to drive out performance longer term, but there's also a very significant amount of resilience given that inelasticity of demand. So when you look back at all of the down markets for the MSCI World going back to 2001, the healthcare sector has outperformed the broader market in each of those. So you can expect hopefully more outperformance as we continue to see growth and innovation within the space that helps to drive the upmarket participation of the healthcare sector, and in more difficult environments, hopefully a more smooth pattern of performance with regards to drawdowns and volatility.
How is the AB International Healthcare portfolio different from other funds in this space?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are often a lot of different approaches to investing in healthcare. Many of our peers will often look at the more innovative and speculative parts of healthcare to try and identify the next drivers of growth. That can be drug development and things like that, biotechnology, smaller, maybe more niche areas of drug development. We don't tend to do that. What we do is we have a portfolio that is roughly 40 to 60 stocks. For us, That level of concentration is the appropriate level where we can express our conviction in stocks that we like, and we're diversified enough where we're not letting one stock drive all of our out or underperformance versus the market. Many of our peers are a lot more diversified to spread that risk across a wider portfolio and help try and dampen some of the volatility associated with investing in those earlier stage, more speculative businesses. So what we endeavor to do is not try and predict scientific success, because we think that's a very difficult thing to do over time successfully, but instead identify what we believe are the best businesses that we can find within the healthcare sector, businesses that are profitable today, that have a good and core slate of products helping to drive the business forward, and many opportunities to reinvest those profits back into the business above the company's own cost of capital to help drive future growth. And we want to pay as little as possible for that longer term growth optionality. So you can expect the portfolio to typically drive as much of the portfolio's risk as possible from stock selection. We try and mitigate as much as possible the factor or country or industry level drivers of risk. And we are expecting to deliver a more attractive pattern of risk-adjusted returns for clients over time, whether that be information ratio or Sharpe ratio, and more consistent returns than maybe some of the peer group.
Mm-hmm. Robert, where does the team find some of the more interesting opportunities within the healthcare sector today?
Yeah, some of the more interesting themes and trends that we're seeing in the market today, really across four main areas. So we have robotics and equipment, we have diagnostics and life science tools, we have biotechnology and pharmaceuticals, and then we have technology and AI. So on the robotics side, that could be things that help to create new ways of providing a minimally invasive procedure for you if you're undergoing a surgery. For instance, if you look at Intuitive Surgical as a robotic surgery maker, their goal is really to provide a much more precise and more targeted way for you to receive a surgical procedure so that your recovery time is shorter, so that you're able to get out of the hospital more quickly with fewer complications. That reduces the cost and the burden on you as the patient, and it helps the hospital to turn over beds more quickly and to be a lot more efficient. So there are interesting opportunities in minimally invasive procedures, new ways to, say, replace a faulty valve in your heart. There are many companies that are working on technology like that to make the process more efficient and less invasive. On the life sciences and tools and diagnostic side of things, there are really exciting opportunities in things like DNA sequencing, different levels of testing. So potentially in our lifetime, we believe that we might be able to find a blood test that allows a doctor to detect early stage cancer in your blood, right? That's still probably a bit of ways off, but there are companies making inroads in trying to develop some of those capabilities. The logical area that people tend to focus on within healthcare is biotech and pharmaceuticals. We do focus very heavily on companies that have a really robust pipeline where they have a history of success in developing new treatments. The thing that comes to mind today that's all over the news and media is the GLP-1s for weight loss and diabetes, and the longer term applications of those drugs to treat things like liver disease, addictive behaviors. There could be a lot of exciting developments on the back of this innovation with the GLP-1s. And the one area that we think is quite underappreciated is AI. Right, we kind of talked at the beginning of the session about technology really being the main focus for many investors this year, as everyone is trying to pile into many of the implementers or the enablers of AI. Think about NVIDIA and many of the Magnificent Seven. But we think about how inefficient the healthcare sector is. When you go to the doctor, the amount of paperwork you need to fill out, the amount of medical misdiagnoses. If you go to the doctor and they give you the wrong diagnosis and they treat you for the wrong thing, that helps to delay your overall treatment and prolong that process. That's a really big cost for the healthcare system more broadly on an annual basis. So if we can reduce that, that will help to drive efficiencies. If we can help to speed up clinical trials, that will create huge efficiencies in drug development and help bring drugs to market more quickly. There are ways to use the tremendous amount of data that we have on offer in this system to try and identify new opportunities to treat people more quickly and more effectively. So these are some of the areas that we are really excited about, that we think are driving longer term opportunity within the space.
Robert Milano, Senior Investment Strategist and Head of EMEA Equity Business Development at Alliance Bernstein. It's been a pleasure to have you here, joining us here in Negocios Televisión.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Take care.